What's good, everyone? Ask a millennial. Oh, God, wrong intro. Geofuck Psych Perspective. I've got so many different channels, y'all. I want to thank everybody that leaves comments, and also not only leaving comments, but expressing what you are dealing with, your experiences, your opinion, your perspective, your advice. You feel me? And I received an Instagram inbox DM, and shout out to you for messaging me and watching my videos. I really appreciate it. So this person sent me an Instagram message and basically was like, I'm in the process of adopting or fostering a child, and this person had watched my video discussing toxic black mothers, and how you have toxic black mothers, black fathers, black parents who ultimately are extremely detrimental to children in the black community, especially when we start looking at mental health in developmental stages, etc. And this person basically was asking, like, so what are some ways that I personally can work on myself with healing so I can be prepared to be a foster parent, or be a parent, period, adopting children. Now, I just want to say preferences. Disclaimer, I do not have any children. I do not have any children. I've never had a kid. And quite frankly, I don't really want kids. That's just me. So again, another disclaimer, I am not a mental health professional. I am not a clinical mental health professional. I'm not Dr. Umar. I'm not sitting up here lying about having all of these degrees and being all of these different professions. I am not a mental health professional. When I talk about my personal experiences, it's me speaking about my personal experiences. It's also based in research that I have done personally. I've been in therapy for almost 1 full year, going to counseling and therapy, and that's how I started unpacking a lot of the toxic, dysfunctional ideologies, behaviors, and beliefs that I had based from my upbringing in a dysfunctional, toxic family and household. I'm just being honest, and community. So I can give some advice, but a lot of this I would recommend everyone go to therapy, get into counseling. Like, that is so needed, in my opinion, in the black community. And all communities really, but really in the black community, we need therapy and counseling. And some of us, like I keep saying, need to be on medication. I'm just going to call it for what it is. You have chemical imbalances. And it's obvious when you look at how a lot of us act. Okay? It's obvious. You have issues with regulating your emotions, expressing yourself, communicating. It's so many different things going on. So what I can say as far as what I would recommend, and thank you again for watching my videos, expressing your experiences and messaging me. So what I can say as far as potential advice, recommendations, number one, therapy and counseling, not only for yourself, but for that child, especially with them being a foster child. No telling what they've seen, what they've been through, what they've endured. So to me, counseling is so important, not only for you, but for the child. They also can benefit from being in therapy counseling. And there's various types of counseling. You have cognitive behavior therapy, DBT, which is really good for those of us that deal with post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, or CPTSD, complex post-traumatic stress disorder. Anyone that's been through trauma and abuse, DBT will do very well to help you find ways of coping and how to react in certain circumstances and situations without constantly being triggered and being sent back into that dark space where you were traumatized or victimized or abused. So therapy is a big advice for that. Number two, we really have to work on healing your inner child. That is something that I've been working on for almost a year, and it takes time. This is not something that you just rush through. I know a lot of us think, we're just gonna powerhouse through it, and some of us can, I'm not gonna take that away. Some of us will be able to power through it. But healing your inner child is so important because a lot of us have childhood wounds that have not healed. And it's obvious when you look at how a lot of us, we might be of age, as in we're adults, physically, but mentally, psychologically, we're children and we're repressed. And a lot of us live in cycles. So when that traumatic incident took place, when you were a child, an adolescent, a teenager, unfortunately, yeah, you know how they always say time heals all wounds. And personally, that's bullcrap. It doesn't heal anything. Just time passes. So what ends up happening is you grow in age, but mentally, you're still in that same stage you were when you were abused, when you were hurt, when you were traumatized. So that's why that counseling piece and number two, healing your inner child is so important. 3, I don't want to have this be a super long video, but the third tip advice that I would recommend is disconnecting with people that are toxic. I cannot stress this one enough. A lot of us are going to have to disconnect from the people, places, and things that are extremely detrimental and toxic to our mental health and well-being. And that includes family, friends, and also when I said places and things, some of us will have to relocate because it's that traumatic. Like when I look at the situation that I'm dealing with, personally, I'm still around the same toxic family members that I'm talking about. So I know as I'm going through my healing, ultimately, I will have to relocate and move permanently to get away from such people. A lot of us are going to have to disconnect completely and or going to have to practice, which this can be the fourth tip, setting healthy boundaries, right? Because sometimes you can't just get up and relocate and move, or you can't just cut a person off cold turkey, but you can set up boundaries so you're not constantly being disrespected and being re-victimized, re-traumatized. Because I notice as long as I'm with this particular family member, I love them because they raised me, but you're toxic. And you refuse to change your behavior even though you see what you're saying and doing is hurting others, and you continue to do it. So that off rip lets us know you're toxic, you're insensitive, and you don't care. So this is where having those healthy boundaries implemented helps. So like what I do, I close the door. I'm not talking to you. I'm not picking up your phone calls. I'm not entertaining you. That's putting up healthy boundaries. I'm going to do a video later on discussing DBT deeper, and if I can possibly have one of my other friends who also benefited from DBT, I would love to have them either in a video or at least have them talking so you can hear the audio of them expressing their experiences with DBT, because DBT helps a lot. But there will be more videos to come. Stay tuned.